Bills beat the Dolphins 31-21 yesterday at Highmark Stadium. Late last night at Highmark Stadium, I should say. Sal Capaccio here with you on a Buffalo Football Friday reaction extra point show here today. And of course, our Football Friday is brought to you by Celino Law. Car crash, call Celino. Call the 8s. And by Crosby's Pizza and Subs. Crosby's Hometown Fuel. Game day ready since 1922. Well, it's a Thursday night victory. It's a Friday night. It's a Friday morning, extra point show. And I am here at Studio Capaccio. Yes, so if you see me, because you can watch on YouTube, hello. This is Studio Capaccio, where I do the podcast. It's always game day in Buffalo. My buddy Matt Bove. We're here today. I mean, hey, Studio Capaccio is good for times like this because I think I got to bed last night about 2:45 a.m. Back up this morning, ready to rock and roll with Jeremy and Joe, and ready to talk to you. So things are going quick, and the power of technology today, we're able to stay in Studio Capaccio and do this show and take all of your calls as we would normally on a Monday. Bullpen, what's going on? Just want to give a shout out to you guys. I know you're in there right now, and you can chat with us. You can go to Studio Capaccio and watch, Studio Capaccio and WGR Sports Radio 550 on the YouTube page. That is WGR 550 on YouTube, and you can chat right there. All right, I won't be able to respond to a lot of your chats because I'll be doing the show, but you can talk with each other, what you liked, what you didn't like about the game, and, of course, heading forward with the Buffalo Bills. And we also are going to take your calls because that's what we do on a reaction show. We take your calls, and whether it's a Monday or a Friday. And I have to be honest, I got up today, and I grabbed the Victory Monday t-shirt, and I'm like, no, it's not a Monday. I mean, is that a faux pas? I mean, what do you think? I'll ask. In fact, you know what? Let's start this off. Let's get the bullpen involved right away. Bullpen, answer this question for me. Would it have been weird if I wore a Victory Monday shirt today like I do after the Bills win on a Sunday? Would it be weird? Because I thought I still wear it next Monday because I'm still going to do the show on Monday. Would it be weird if I wore it today? Because I'm going to wear it Monday anyway. So maybe that would have been weird. Wear it on a Friday and a Monday would have been okay. You would have been acceptable of it, right? So thank you. Sal, you can still wear it. Thank you. Does anyone have a Victory Friday shirt? We got to get on that one. There you go. Wear the shirt. No, I don't have it. I do have a buffalo here on my shirt though, with some snarly looking face. And I think a lot of you are a little snarly today after the Bills win 31-21. What's up with that? A little snarly after the victory. I get it. They didn't play their cleanest game. They didn't play a perfect game. There's a lot of things that didn't look great, that went a little awry. And you're feeling like, man, you got to clean that up. No doubt. I get it. No doubt. But, folks, I mean, I think, honestly, I got to be honest, I think that some of the expectations are getting a little unrealistic here. I mean, you can't just walk into division games against an 0-2 team and just, run them out of the building by 30 points. I know that'd be great. And you look at the Dolphins and their situation, you think that could happen, but it was still 31-21. The Bills won by 10 points. Now, I'm not here to sit here and tell you everything was rainbows and, unicorns and all that everything was great. But, man, they still won 3-0, and it feels like to a lot of people just way more to you went wrong than right. I don't agree with that. I think there were definitely things that went wrong, and we could talk about that, the things they have to clean up. I say it all the time. I'll say it now. Every game has its own DNA. What does that mean? What does it mean every game had its own DNA? It means that every game is different, obviously. Every game plan is different. When someone says to me, well, you can't do that against the Ravens or you'll lose. My response is, well, they didn't play the Ravens, so you don't play them the same way. You play the Dolphins, and you have a game plan for the Dolphins. They have a much different team than the Ravens or the Chiefs or the Bengals or the Eagles or whoever. And you construct a game plan to go against the opponent you're playing. Not against an opponent you're going to play later down the road because, well, we can't play like that against them. No, it doesn't matter. You're not trying to beat the Chiefs right now. You're trying to beat the Dolphins. The Bills were their own worst enemy yesterday in a lot of ways. They were the better team, and they started to stall out a little bit on offense, and they still wound up scoring 31 points. It's crazy to think about the fact that the Bills didn't have their fastball. They didn't have their best offensive output, mostly in the second half. And yet they still scored 31 points and won by 10 points over a division rival. And I just think that's a great sign. But there's certainly some things to clean up and things we want to talk about. And I want to talk about all of that with you at 803-0550 here on the Football Friday Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on WGR Sports Radio 550. We are going to hear from a lot of people today, okay? So we're going to take your calls, but I also want, because this was a late night and a lot of you haven't heard from Sean McDermott yet, we'll hear from him. We'll hear from Josh Allen. We'll hear from Terrell Bernard. We got locker room sound. So we'll hear all of that, and we'll take your phone calls, and I welcome them at 803-0550, whatever you liked or didn't like. And, of course, what I like and what I don't like is always at WGR550.com after every game. It is called Arrow Up, Arrow Down, and I'll run through that as well because the arrows down. Now, after games, I say to you a lot of times, I put out there on social media, on X, at Sal Sports, I say, give me suggestions for arrow up, arrow down. And last night, there were a lot of suggestions for arrow down. Quite a few for arrow up, too. But way more, I think, for arrow down. And that's where I got to, man, it feels like if you didn't know the score of the game, if you didn't know the result of the game, and you saw the replies after I asked that, you'd think the Bills really got beat and people are really upset. They didn't get beat. They also didn't play quite up to their standard in a lot of ways, and that's okay to recognize. But you also want to make sure you know, and I recognize that they did win a game, and they moved to 3-0, and they're the first team in the clubhouse with 3 wins here early on in the NFL season. So if you go over to WGR550.com, arrow up, arrow down, we start with the ups for the third straight week because I start with an up when the Bills win. I start with a down when they lose. And I think there's some encouraging things that we've seen early on in this season that really did show up very well last night. And I'm going to start with Dalton Kincaid. Dalton Kincaid is turning into, I think, the player that the Bills told you they needed him to be in 2025. He has gotten bigger. I've stood next to him. You can tell. And it's not like massively bigger, but it's bigger, it's thicker, he's stronger, and it's showing up in his game. He's becoming a better blocker. When he's on the field, he can block and he can obviously catch passes. And he did in this one. 5 catches, 66 yards, and the score. And I think it's just a great sign for the Bills, not only Dalton Kincaid, but really the entire tight end group. And this is kind of where the offense is right now, folks. The offense is at a spot where they can play a little more conservative, and it doesn't look great to you, and it doesn't sound great, and you want them to throw the ball. And I did too. Like, I thought they should be more aggressive last night. But their philosophy right now is we can just kind of beat you playing a game where we're not going to make mistakes. And if it comes time where we have to kind of put the foot on the gas, we'll do that like we did against the Ravens. I don't love that because I think you could get into a trap and you could wind up getting into a situation where maybe, you fall behind and then you make a mistake and you can't catch up. Could have happened to the Ravens. It almost happened last night. But at the same time, I also love the fact that this team just doesn't give the ball away and they can still move the ball down the field in a number of different ways. They can lead on the running game. They can use 3 tight ends, 13 personnel. Normally, when you have 13 personnel on the field, the defense thinks it's big boy football, physical. They're going to come right at you. Teams can't do that against the Bills because the Bills have Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, and Jackson Hawes, who gets his first NFL touchdown. Jackson Hawes said with those 3 and Reggie Gilliam, he called it a 4-headed snake, actually, is what he called it. And yes, that's a formula to win. It's also, though, concerning when you don't see the Bills throw the ball down the field and get some explosive plays because they're going to need that. I had some people tell me, and I know I've heard you, and maybe we'll get some calls on this, say, and read you say, that, you don't like Joe Brady's play calling because he's not throwing the ball down the field or allowing Josh Allen. Look, I don't think anything about not allowing Josh Allen. There were several times last night that I'm on the field watching, and I don't know if you could tell from your TV broadcast or if you were there, Josh did look downfield, and then he checked it down. Sure, there are going to be a lot of plays designed to go underneath, short passes. There were plenty of plays where Josh Allen looked downfield to throw, and he didn't throw it. And what you have to look at is, did the Dolphins in this case keep everything in front of them and not allow the Bills to do that? So there's a lot of just nuances in how these things go, right? James Cook with an excellent performance. We'll get to him as well. But, man, this guy's off to a great start this year. 108 yards, 5.7 yards a carry. He gets into the end zone for the 7th straight regular season game, tying a franchise record. Guy gets paid, and he's still just on an ascension basically here. And he's just been really, really good so far for the Buffalo Bills. Third down defense was an issue. Definitely we can get to that. We'll get a lot more on we'll get into a lot more of what you want to as well. 803-0550 here in the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Before we get to calls, though, how about Terrell Bernard? How about Terrell Bernard? I'm so mad. I'm so mad. I'm mad at myself. I am mad at myself. Joe Callie, I'm mad at myself. I mean, he's on the phone, I think, taking a phone call. I got to tell you why I'm mad. Because the game was in the fourth quarter, and Chris and Eric are doing the game up top. And I thought to myself, I said, we had a report coming from me, like they were going to come down to me. And Joe, I'm mad at myself because I said, I'm going to say on the air, boy, guys, I really think I really smell a Terrell Bernard, like, turnover coming. And I never did it. I didn't say it, and then it happened. I would have looked like the soothsayer. Nostradamus. So it didn't happen, though.
No, that would have been awesome, though, I will say.
I know. I thought it. And no, you don't have to believe me, folks. I'm sitting here like, yeah, whatever, Sal. You didn't. I was going to say on the air, guys, I smell a Terrell Bernard turnover. The guy just has a knack to make plays, to make turnovers, to be around the ball. And you know what's great about last night? Man, again, this is the nuance of football that you kind of have to just step back and think and see what's happening and digest it all before you make these rash judgments. Because I saw a lot of people saying he took a risk, and if he gets beat, it's a big play down the field. That's not the case, folks. Terrell Bernard, after the game, said he saw this on film, and he kind of figured what was coming. So I asked him, like, when did you see it, and take me through kind of the process of that. He said, well, the Jets actually ran the same concept and had some success on a play or two. So they knew it might come from the Dolphins, and they saw the Dolphins do the same thing. So he gave a shout out to Al Holcomb, his linebackers coach, who said, look, they're going to run this and be ready for it. He said earlier in the game, they ran the exact same formation. He saw it develop, but they didn't throw it there. And then late in the game, the interception play, Terrell Bernard said, I saw it. I knew they were going to throw it there, and I was going to jump it. And he said, even if I got beat, like I said, hey, it's a risk, right? He said, well, they were in zone defense. This was the key for me. He said, we were in zone. If he risks and he doesn't get there, it's okay. Someone's going to make the tackle. Yeah, you might give up some yards, but it's not like you're giving up a big play down the field. Folks, that was a calculated risk based on study. That's why Terrell Bernard is who he is and a team captain and making those plays. So just want to throw that out there. 803-0550 is the number to call. We'll get to a lot of your sound from the locker room after McDermott, Allen, Bernard, and more here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Lots of your phone calls coming in, though. Let's start it off with Clover in Texas. Hi, Clover. You're on WGR.
Hey, Sal. Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. How are you?
You got it. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Well, I'm happy about the win. Like Miami, they know us so well. They know how to attack Sean McDermott's defense. I mean, they have some good players. I mean, Waddle, he really went off. There was some throws that Tua missed to Hill that really could have hurt us, so we got lucky there. But I mean, we can't forget, like, Skylar Thompson came up and really gave us a hard time during a playoff game a couple of years ago. So I mean, I think people should really be happy with this win. And then, just made the mistakes, right, with the interception and the bad penalty. So that kind of leads me to the reason why I called. I wanted to know what you thought about the special teams play this season under the new coach. I noticed it's kind of like not a story. The coverage and the punts and kickoffs seem really good. And then I was wondering with the shank on the field goal from Prater, I was wondering if that had something to do with the new punter coming in and
I have to tell you, Clover, I haven't looked at that yet, so I can't tell you. I don't know if the hold was bad or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he had that same guy last week, and he was 6 for 6 on kicks.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Right. So I can't. I think 6 for 6, maybe 5 for 5. So I can't tell you for sure if that had anything to do with it. I think overall special teams have been good for the Bills, but the opening kickoff was not good coverage last night, and then Brandon Codrington also muffed a punt. So not a good night for special teams. They missed a field goal. That was out of the 3 games they played, though. That's the first time I would say that about the new about special teams right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I guess in the years past we've had some things that have cost us games, right? Like the 12 men on the field for the one game, I think it was Denver.
Yep.
So at least there's not that. Like, yeah, you're right. There was some mistakes last night. I've heard people ripping on Codrington, but like.
Oh well, whatever. He muffed a punt. He muffed a punt. He's very good at his job and what he does. So I wouldn't agree with that. But he did muff a punt. And he's got to be better than that, and he knows that. But thanks a lot, Clover. I got to run. Always appreciate you giving a call. Yeah, you got it. Let's go. By the way, how about this? We got back to back from the Lone Star State, Steve in Texas. What's up, Steve?
Hey, Sal. I just kind of wanted to echo your point a little bit about, super short week, division matchup. That's totally a survive and advance, especially given some of the injuries we've had. And Miami is just so fast and has, 3 home run hitters on offense, regardless of people's opinion of, what Tua is going to do at quarterback. But the biggest thing I noticed from that game was that series of plays leading up to Prater missing the field goal. It seemed like, very low risk. We're going to get points here, and we're going to be in the driver's seat for the rest of the game. And then when he missed that field goal, it kind of seemed like, not that offense or Joe Brady in particular tightened up, but it seemed like it got really protective, and the style of their offense really changed for, a quarter and a half or 2 quarters after that. It just it seemed like they really got out of their comfort zone when they missed that field goal, and they were.
Yeah, it's a good point. I gave that entire sequence an arrow down. I agree with you. I thought the complexion of the game completely changed on that series, and then Miami comes down and they tie the game. You're talking about a swing, Steve. Could have been 17-7, maybe even 21-7. And the Bills get nothing out of it, and then Miami scores. But you're right. If you go back to there, the Bills actually got the ball down to the Miami 16-yard line. From there, they ran for 2 yards, ran for no gain, and then got sacked and then missed that field goal. I agree. And I don't know if the offense, like the philosophy of the offense, changed after that, but after that series, it was not as easy for the Bills because the first 2 series, they were just moving the ball at will down on the Miami Dolphins. You know what I mean? And then that could change the complexion of the game. But I agree with you on that. I appreciate it. Let's go to Neil in North Carolina. What's up, Neil?
Hey, Sal. Thanks for taking my call. And if you would have made that call, we could have called you Saladamas, I would guess.
Saladamas. There you go. See, I know. I'm telling you, you might not believe me. I said it. I even said it to those guys in a break. I'm like, guys, I'm so mad at myself. I smelled the Terrell Bernard turnover. But you know why, Neil? It's because that guy just seems to make plays. And listen.
He does.
Tremaine Edmonds did a lot of nice things in a Bills uniform. But Terrell Bernard's kind of the antithesis of Tremaine Edmonds. Tremaine Edmonds would have, he'd fill up the stat sheet with tackles, but you were always missing that splash play, especially in a critical moment. Whereas Terrell, maybe he doesn't fill up the stat sheet all the time. He does, and then he makes a critical play at a critical moment.
Yep, absolutely. The thing I was going to say is, like you were saying, a lot of people are upset. They didn't pass the ball. They didn't throw it enough. And it seemed like he went in there, Brady, with an idea of, okay, let's see if we can run the 2 and the 3 tight end offense. They were able to run. And the other thing was they moved quick, Miami. So the best thing we can do is to run the clock. And when you have a running back like him, it reminds me of the 90s. The reason that team was as great as it was, yeah, they had a quarterback. Yeah, they had receivers. They also had Thurman Thomas, who can change the game rushing. And it also can open up in other types of games, the passing. So I actually thought the game plan wasn't that bad. Did I expect that? No. But I actually thought it wasn't that bad. But the point of that missed field goal absolutely started to change. And luckily, they were able to play the way they're playing. It's just enjoyable to watch these guys. I mean, they're really playing great. And like you said, things they need to fix, absolutely. But you walk away with a Miami team that came in there hungry to beat us because they were 0-2, and we were able to hold them off, and we're now 3-0. So I definitely give them kudos for that. But I'm enjoying watching the run. I mean, he's amazing, Cook. And when they put that 3 tight end, it seems like he's getting anywhere from 5 to 10 to 12 yards every time.
Yeah, you got it. I appreciate that. And listen, it's so funny, Neil. Like, you're like, yeah, conservative, this and that. And then they score 31 points. That's what's wild about this team, right? Like last week, Josh Allen. Josh Allen doesn't account for a single point and they score 30. And it's like, how do they do that? And I think that's just a sign of a good team, even though it could be kind of boring, quote unquote, right? I mean, I think that's how you have to look at it. Andrew in Utica. Hi, Andrew.
Hey, good morning, Sal.
Good morning.
Good morning. Wanted to share with you some reflections I had after sleeping, because a lot of the fan base last night, including myself, was super stressed. Like, this is some bad team. We scored 31 points without a turnover, and a lot of fans are talking like we lost the game, myself included last night. But after sleeping on it, we really got to enjoy these moments of having one of the best offenses in the league. And a forward-looking statement on the defense, we're down about 5 key contributors with Oliver, Milano, Okunjobi, Hoyt, and Hairston. So I think that situational defense will improve moving forward. And also looking at the box score, Tua passed for 146 yards on 36 attempts. So just brief reflection on the game and forward-looking statement on the defense. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, you got it. Listen, the yards per play for the Dolphins was less than 5, like 4.6. The only issue with the Bills' defense I really had was third down defense. A lot of that stemmed from not getting much of a pass rush. You know what I mean? So I think that is a area where they have to be better. But at the same time, I think that they did a very nice job overall defensively. 803-0550. Here's the number to call on WGR Sports Radio 550. And if you want to give a call and you want to jump on board, we can do that. We'd be like Mike in Lancaster here. We'll take one more call before a timeout, and we'll get to Mike. What's up, Mike?
Sal, good morning. So glad they won. So glad they're 3-0. I do have a couple things. I hate to be the Debbie Downer, but I got a couple questions for you. First drive, which is obviously a very important drive in the game because Miami goes down and gets that touchdown, right? They kind of set the tone for the game, I thought. They came out and played with some attitude, and, hats off to them, but glad we pulled it off. But how is that not being called down? Tyreek Hill bobbled the ball before he went out of bounds. The announcer on TV made it known. I seen it. And
we did too. We did too. I don't know. And we haven't. I think Sean McDermott speaks today. Maybe he'll get asked about that. Like he maybe should have challenged that. I would also tell you, I think if it was clear, they could have overturned it on the replay assist like they do sometimes. They can do that. They didn't do that. I agree with you. I mean, yeah, sure. It's a nitpicky thing, but it's probably right. They probably should have challenged that, but they didn't. Maybe he didn't. Maybe they just didn't feel it was close enough. He didn't want to lose a challenge that early in the game. You know what I mean? In a timeout. I don't know.
And that brings me to my second point. And we pay that guy upstairs, that official that's we hired him last year, and I haven't seen great things from that guy. I thought we would have been a lot better with the challenges, but I don't know why he's not seeing that. And second, saving the timeouts. We're calling timeouts before the end of the half, kind of with Miami driving, having the momentum, and I understand he wants to get the ball back, right? But we're getting the ball after the half. I understand if we're getting the ball. We weren't getting the ball after the half using the timeouts, but I just thought it was the wrong decision to start using timeouts and helping Miami on that final drive there.
Well,
that's
fine, but you just said, but you didn't. Wait. That to me, that you're looking for something then there to nitpick because you just said you understand it, and he's trying to get Josh Allen the ball to double dip.
No, I understand it if we were not getting the ball back after half. I would understand that.
I know that, but I'm saying they wanted to double dip. They wanted to get the ball, score, and get the ball back at the end of the half. So, I mean, you have Josh Allen as your quarterback, right? I mean, that's
right.
I get it.
I disagree with hardly any timeouts, and you're letting Miami drive. I don't know. I just didn't feel it. I thought it was the wrong decision.
Okay, that's cool. You can feel that way, but I mean, you have Josh Allen, and the coach obviously wanted to be aggressive. And we get calls all the time that he's not aggressive enough, Mike.
Well, if you want to say that, Sal, what do we have, one pass over 10 yards last night?
Correct.
The whole game?
That is correct. That is correct. Now, I'll point that out, and I agree with you on that, and I wrote about that. I would also tell you that's not just on coaching. Josh Allen looked downfield and decided to check it down several times.
Right. But
that's on the quarterback, too.
It would be nice if Josh would at least throw something down, even if it's a busted play, wasted play, just to try to open some things up for him. I would like to see that. You hate to nitpick things, but when they're good, you got to find something to nitpick on, right?
Is there anything you liked about the game, Mike?
Yeah, I like that they won.
Okay, there you go, buddy. I love it. Thanks a lot. We'll take a time out here. I appreciate that. Just wanted to end on a good note here on the first segment. We'll take a time out here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show on WGR Sports Radio 550. We are going to hear from Sean McDermott, who spoke post-game, Josh Allen, Terrell Bernard. We'll try to do all that, but you guys got calls coming in, so we'll take that as well here on the Northtown Automotive Extra Point Show. Sal Capaccio with you on a Buffalo Football Friday on WGR.